So picture this. You sit down, put your nice headphones on, cue up this massively popular ASMR audio track, and you just think to yourself, am I doing this wrong? It is honestly so frustrating to watch millions of people online literally melt into a puddle of relaxation while you're just sitting there feeling absolutely nothing. Or worse, you're sitting there kind of wondering why someone aggressively tapping on a hairbrush is supposed to be relaxing in the first place. Well, that brings us to the million-dollar question we're looking at today. Can you actually learn to experience ASMR? Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this today because we are going to completely demystify the whole ASMR experience. We're going to pivot away from this exhausting idea of chasing the tingles, and instead, we're focusing entirely on cultivating deep, trainable relaxation. By the time we wrap up, you are going to have a highly practical, step-by-step roadmap to use sound as a real, tangible tool for calm. All right, so here is our roadmap for today. We're starting with expectation versus reality. Then we'll look at the science of ASMR, cover 4 trainable skills, dive into the 10-day protocol, and finally, redefine success. Let's jump right in with section 1, expectation versus reality. It's time to clear up the absolute biggest misconception floating around the ASMR community. Listen, a lot of content out there implies that if you just click on enough random triggers, boom, anyone can unlock those magical scalp tingles. But the reality, classic tingles are completely unguaranteed. No one can promise you'll develop them on command. What is highly trainable, however, is your attention, your body awareness, your expectation, and your conditioned relaxation response. You might not be able to force a tingle, for sure, but you absolutely can train a state of calm. Moving right along to section 2, the science of ASMR. We really need to anchor this in actual research to show you this isn't just internet magic. It's a documented, highly individualized nervous system response. And the scientific community totally backs this up. Back in 2015, Barratt and Davis found that ASMR is most commonly used for relaxation, sleep, and mood support. But then in 2017, Fredborg, Clark, and Smith found something super crucial. They found that ASMR responders actually show trait differences, like a higher openness to experience. And what that means is universal training has natural limits. Then, Poerio and colleagues in 2018 proved ASMR produces very real physiological and mood changes in the people who do experience it. And just recently, a 2023 study in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience linked ASMR effects directly to improvements in heart rate and stress states. Put it all together, and these studies confirm ASMR is very real, but it is deeply, deeply individual. Since the science tells us we can't just force everyone to have the exact same response, what can we actually do? That brings us to section 3, 4 trainable skills. These are the 4 foundational skills we're going to master: attention, safety, association, and trigger literacy. Think of these as the scaffolding you can actually use to build your own relaxation practice. Because honestly, the modern, scattered brain is just bombarded with stimuli all day long, which fights directly against that gentle ASMR response. Let's break down the first one, attention training. Most people try to consume ASMR while they're doom scrolling on their phones, answering texts, or just aggressively trying to force themselves to fall asleep. And that completely splits your focus. So here's the trick. For just 5 minutes, listen to a single, gentle trigger. Stop asking yourself, wait, do I have tingles yet? Instead, just track a 1% physical change. Check in with your scalp, your jaw, your throat, your shoulders, your breathing. That hyper-focused attention, that's exactly what you're training here. Skill number 2 is training safety. And man, this is so easily overlooked. ASMR heavily depends on you feeling safe enough to actually receive gentle attention. If you're sitting in a bright, loud, or emotionally tense environment, your nervous system is literally on guard. It is not going to let you relax. You have to create physical safety. We're talking a dim room, low volume, and strictly after the day's urgent demands are finished. You have to explicitly give your brain permission to lower its shields. Our third skill is training association. You know, the human brain is basically a giant pattern recognition machine. It learns through cues. If you pair the exact same calm sound with a consistent evening wind-down routine every single night, that sound eventually transforms into a really powerful signal. Over time, your nervous system learns the cue and will actually start to settle down much earlier, just because it recognizes the pattern. The fourth and final skill is trigger literacy. Please, I'm begging you, do not randomly sample 100 different ASMR videos in one night. That is just a recipe for a massive headache. Instead, pick just one category per night.
So maybe tonight is soft speaking, tomorrow is ambient rain, the next night is page turning. And after listening, rate your feelings of calm, irritation, sleepiness, and tingles, all completely separately. This stops you from totally rejecting the entire concept of ASMR just because one single sound happened to irritate your unique nervous system.
Now, let's move into section 4, the absolute climax of our explainer, the 10-day protocol. This is where it all comes together. This is a highly actionable step-by-step roadmap that puts those 4 trainable skills to work. For days 1 and 2, start with nonverbal texture sounds at a very low volume. Your only job, track body relaxation. Days 3 and 4, shift over to a soft voice or whispering, but definitely avoid complex storytelling so your language centers don't get all fired up and distracted. Days 5 and 6, test out visual triggers. Think slow movements or personal attention demonstrations. Days 7 and 8, switch it up to ambient sounds, rain, brown noise, maybe some gentle tapping. And finally, on days 9 and 10, you're going to return to the top 2 categories that brought you the most calm. And remember, you do this even if they didn't produce a single tingle. This is all about low-pressure exploration.
Which brings us nicely to our final section, redefining success.
Once you actually finish your 10-day protocol, how do you know if it worked? Well, we need to completely reset our philosophy here. I urge you to evaluate your success purely on function. Ask yourself tonight, did it help me sleep? Did it reduce the tension in my jaw or my shoulders? Did it make a chaotic room feel just a little bit quieter? Did it help my brain finally transition out of high-stress work mode? If you can answer yes to literally any of these, then your ASMR practice was incredibly successful. Honestly, treating tingles as the only valid outcome is the biggest mistake you can make. Our core takeaway today is brilliantly simple. The tingle itself is not a moral achievement. It's not proof that you're somehow doing relaxation correctly, and not having them doesn't mean your brain is broken. Tingles are beautiful when they happen, for sure, but deep, intentional relaxation is still profoundly valuable without them. The true goal isn't to force your brain into having someone else's experience. The goal is to find the exact sound, the pace, and the physical setting where your unique nervous system finally gets to soften. So, I want to leave you with this thought as you prepare to kick off your own 10-day protocol. Would you rather train for stronger tingles, or would you rather train for deeper, much more reliable calm? Really think about what your brain needs right now. And more importantly, looking back at that list of sounds, which ASMR category are you going to test next? Go get your environment set up, keep your expectations